Bum 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 bum. The Peter Like Show. Bum 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 bum. I want to circle back to the Single Lives Matter movement again because of some insight that I gained over the last couple of weeks. So, a little bit of background about the movement. The reason I started the SOM movement was that at a couple of jobs that I've worked at in the past, not so much so in recent times, but in the past, I was working at a different school in Seattle, Washington. Actually, two other schools there where I ran into the same problem. There's an implicit assumption that because I was the only team member who was single, or one of the few at least, that I was more free to take on additional tasks, work overtime, work odd hours. And I want to point out something. You guys may have been following this past month. I've returned to the dating world with a throng, and I realized something. Looking for that future life partner in it of itself is almost like a full-time job. Now that I have somebody that I regularly see, it feels like I've quit one of my full-time jobs. It really does. I'm not joking about that. A lot of people don't recognize that. There's one other thing I want to mention. When I was at Washington Tech, when I was working at the tutoring center, when I was working at the other school that I was at, DigiPen, and so it's, among other jobs, I was working with a bunch of colleagues who are married to somebody else who also has an income, right? Usually dual income families, right? Some of them with kids, some of them without. Having a second income to fall back on really changes the dynamics of your relationship with your work. So obviously, I don't share income with any of the people that I mingle with, but now I have two incomes, as you guys know, by myself. And it really changes the dynamics of how each of those incomes work. What do I mean by that? So at Phoenix College, I have students who want to walk on me. They want to reschedule their finals. Finals week is always tricky for me. I look very young for my age. After all, I'm dating girls who are younger than the girls that I dated when I was working on my PhD, right? So I look very young for my age. A lot of kids just treat me like one of them, right? Maybe even like a sibling sometimes, right? And not only that, but I also teach a bunch of students who are older than me, as in like on paper they're older than me, not only just by appearance, right? And so a lot of these kids will go. They want to take their final early. They want to go home to their family. Now, when I see one of these college kids tell me that they want to go home to see their family, I have a hard time saying no, because when I was their age, I didn't get along with my family members, and I can beat at their wavelength quite a bit. And but now that it's still difficult for me to say no to these people, but it's infinitely easier now that there's a second career backing me up, right? And similarly, when people haggle with me with my art projects, right? After all, people want to haggle all the time, right? It's a lot easier for me to put my foot down, right? Although I've kind of learned that with my art projects, the faster I can turn things over, even if I don't get the best price, right? So, for example, one of my favorite pieces is the 6-inch Ganesh, right? I still have like 60, 70 of them. Even if I only turn a small profit, at least I can take that money and buy new material and do more, right? The faster I turn it over, right? And plus, I'm getting better and better at doing them, right? But you get the idea, right? A lot of people forget that I'm competing against people who have more say in the workplace because they have the second income, right? And also, people forget that dating in its own right, it can almost feel like a full-time job. It really does. I mean, before I met I call her Taylor Jr. because she looks like a younger version of Taylor Swift. Before I met Taylor Jr., I was regularly looking at meetups to go to, and then finding how to manage my time to make time for them, and then I would strategize on how to network with these people, and not to mention, you kind of have to keep up with appearances when you go to these things, right? Ever since I've met Taylor Jr., it feels like I lost one of those jobs, right? It really does. It really does. Okay, I thought I would. I'm just speaking how I feel. I mean, and not that I'm not trying to make a statement or anything. It's just how I feel about the whole situation. Now, if I eventually moved in with Taylor Jr., now we have 4 incomes to contend with. Each of those will be so much more freer, right? I'd be free to put my foot down at Phoenix College. She would be free to look for the best job for her instead of just jumping on the first job, right? She just graduated from college, right? If she does any gig work, she would be free to do it how she wants, right? And you get the idea, right? This is the Peter Lik Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Lik Show. Bum 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 bum.